All right, greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected, and we are covering climate change news of the day. And welcome. Lots of people in the chats. We are live on Rockfin, ROKFIN.com. We have a couple people watching. Please come watch me on Rockfin and do it earlier than later, because soon it may be the only place to watch me. But welcome, guys. Irk1 asks, what did Jamarl Thomas get censored for? That's what a lot of people have questions about, because he's not really super... I mean, he's, lefty anti-establishment, but he's not super... he's not super out there, he's not as out there as, and I don't mean out there derogatorily. I mean, just maybe more on the side of, I wouldn't even call it conspiratorial, but able to entertain weirder ideas. Let's say he's not out there as much as maybe Jimmy Dore or Combo Couch or Nico House. No, he's certainly much more more to the center than they are, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah. Anyways, long answer to a short question. What's up, Kiwi Bear Muzza? Thank you for the super chat. Everyone say hello to Kiwi Bear Muzza, the moderator for the day and every day. Turkish BBN fan, Bill Gabriel, Osama number 5. They're all on Rockfin hanging out with me. Hello. And Snake 1974. Ross Cobbin says the mainstream media is the most out there in reality. Yes, they are. They are. The most not in touch with reality. Anyways, yeah. Duncan McCown says they are coming for any nonconformist opinions. And that's basically how it's going to go. Anybody who's anti-establishment. And so, yeah, Jamarl Thomas is in that camp, anti-establishment. So anybody who's in that anti-establishment, in the anti-establishment waters, yeah. Ross Cobbin, with AI in the near future, you may get censored before you actually say anything. That's already here. That is something that's happening in the present tense. When the Hunter Biden story came out on the New York Post pre-election, they would not let you retweet or post that story. That's called being censored in real time. Anyways, let's get into it. Just not going to be super long today, guys. I think I'm going to do a neorealism show, but I'm not sure about the time. I think probably 1 p.m. So if you guys want to check in on the neorealism site, maybe after noon, or just check in on my Twitter and I'll let you know when something is happening. But this is fairly big news. And this is, I saw this all over the place yesterday. Up to 150 feared dead and more stranded as Glacier Burst sparks massive flood in northern India. Let's read on. What a glacier burst. More than 100 people were reported missing after a glacier broke off. Straight broke off a glacier in your butt. A glacier broke off and caused a flood that damaged a power plant in northern India. Wow. The military was deployed to look for survivors. Again, the fallout from extreme weather events, as long as the mainstream media doesn't have to focus on it, that's fine. The mainstream media, I was listening to a broadcast the other day. I can't remember who. They were just talking about the fact that the mainstream media so rarely covers international news anymore. Like, they're not even concerned with the world. They're concerned with this, like, soap opera of our government and what's happening within our borders. More and more mainstream media news, at least what's broadcast out on cable news, is literally just a soap opera. It's just oh my God, they said this and this happened, and we're gonna do this, and they're talking about this. They rarely cover international news, and so if there's extreme weather or something that's climate change related and it's not happening within our borders, fat chance that somebody's going to talk about it. But anyways, between 100 and 150 people are feared dead. The chief secretary of the northern Uttarakhand state, O.M. Prakash, told ANI news agency. Indian media cited officials that said hundreds more may be stranded. Yeah, this is not unlike the methane blowholes in the Yamil Peninsula. This is like the gas leak that happened in Russia that some say was caused by melting permafrost. A glacier broke off. And again, we're in February. This is February. A glacier broke off and caused a flood that damaged a power plant. I'm sure it didn't break off just because it was a good time to do so. Do you think global warming might have anything to do with this? According to reports, there could be more victims. PTI news agency cited a disaster response official who said more than 150 power plant workers have not been accounted for. Holy shnikes, that's a lot. Authorities also fear for the safety of workers at road and rail projects in the area. Let's watch this video. Water level in Dalanganga River rises suddenly. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Anyways. But I think you can see the wall of water coming down this slope. Holy. Now you can see it. I can see it. Can you see it? Wow. Wow. That is a lot of water. Very scary. That is a wall of water. People living along the riverbanks were ordered to evacuate. First response teams along with the military and border police were deployed to look for survivors. Army helicopters are being used in the rescue operation. Frightening. Let's move on to this from Christopher Cartwright. Icing on the cake for both Arctic and Antarctica. Check D+7 forecast next week. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Here comes the heat. Anyways, he's posting this. I guess as a forecast for the next week in February. Yeah, forecast through February 14th. Wow, look at these Arctic areas of Arctic polar chill or vortex here across Europe and the US, but look at this heat anomaly here and also in the Arctic and in the Antarctic, I think is what he's trying to point out. Wow. And going all the way, the anomaly going up into the teens and almost 20 Celsius anomaly. I mean, but that is as the trend is going, that is what is happening. That is the trend. That is the trend that has been happening over the last 3 or 4 winters. Every single winter, we have gigantic anomalies, Arctic temperature anomalies, snow melt, glacier melt, Arctic sea ice melt, or we have temperatures, near zero or above zero in the Arctic, in the wintertime, which is absolutely abnormal. That isn't just this year. That isn't like, oh my God, look how hot it is all of a sudden. That's not just this year. That's the last 3 or 4 years that this has been happening every single winter. I hope you all have been paying attention. If you've been watching this channel, we've been paying attention. This is also extremely worrying. 420. We have reached 420, or pretty much touched 420. This is from, again, Christopher Cartwright. Are they now trying to soften and massage the data? How stupid would that be? The CO2 went over 420 on the daily Mauna Loa chart. How bad is it really? Again, we reached like 419 last spring. So I've been saying we're at 420. And it's kind of funny because people are like, what are you talking about? We haven't reached 420 yet. Yes, 419. Well, let's call 419 420. Let's just, about as close as you can get to 420 without actually being 420. So we've been at 420, or we've touched 420. We already, we're already there. So, how bad is it really? Inquiring minds want to know. And lastly, today, I want to cover this from EcoWatch. This also got a lot of attention on the social medias. Yes, Ross Cobman, that's just CO2 alone, indeed. Jazz Farm, 420, yep. Smoke it up. Smoke them if you got them, to quote Hambone. Rich Diana, CO2 peaks in March, I believe, right? So if we're at 420 now, hey-ho. Alrighty. Anyways, very interesting study coming out of Africa, East Africa, record rainfall linked to surging methane emissions in East Africa. This is from February 4th. Scientists have long warned the public about compound climate events. When climate change drivers combine with climate disasters, like, melting glaciers, releasing a whole fuck ton of water down a valley and drowning a bunch of people, call that a climate disaster or a compound climate event. One occurrence may already be happening in East Africa, a study published Wednesday found. In 2018 and 19, East Africa experienced unusually wet seasons, provoked by warmer ocean temperatures in the western Indian Ocean and cooler temperatures in the eastern Indian Ocean. Together, the seasons caused widespread flooding and rising water levels. At the same time, scientists also noticed a dramatic increase in methane emissions in the same region. Whoa. Remember, just the other day we looked at a dramatic methane reading in the region of India and South Asia. The two events could be linked, the scientists warned. Methane is a powerful greenhouse gas that traps heat 28 times more effectively over a 100-year period than carbon dioxide, according to NASA. So are we seeing rapid heating in real time? Rapid heating events in real time leading to other climate disasters. About 50% of methane emissions are produced from human activity, like agriculture, waste management, rice cultivation, as well as oil, gas, and coal extraction. An additional 30% of methane emissions are produced by ponds, lakes, rivers, and wetlands, which cover over 131 million hectares in Africa alone. Wetlands are a necessary ecosystem for small-scale farmers in East Africa, providing purified water and healthy soil, and thus improving food security in the region. Wetlands International noted. Wetlands are also a reliable buffer against climate-caused disasters, Adrian Wood, a professor of sustainability at the University of Huddersfield, wrote in the conversation. The best-known example of wetlands for disaster risk reduction is probably the mangrove swamps in the tropics, Wood wrote. On the east and west coast of Africa, these areas provide a buffer against storm surges, cyclones, and tsunamis, as well as providing breeding grounds for fish and storage of carbon. But despite their ability to support economic livelihoods and safeguard communities against extreme weather, wetlands may also reach a breaking point. When wetlands in East Africa become flooded from extreme rainfall, methane emissions in the region were substantially higher than in past years, the study found, causing a 10% and 37% increase compared to previous years with average rainfalls. Oh, very interesting. The extra emissions were equivalent to the UK's annual total emissions of methane in just a 3-month period. Dr. Mark Lunt from the University of Edinburgh School of Geosciences told the Institute of Physics, according to phys.org, as climate change grows more severe and extreme weather becomes the norm, surges in previously unaccounted for emissions should be expected. The scientists warn. A similar effect may be occurring in New York City's sewage systems. Another study performed by Riverkeeper found when sewage systems overflowed, high concentrations of methane were released, linking rainfall to surges in greenhouse gas emissions. Wow. When setting goals for reducing greenhouse gas emissions, cities aren't accounting for emissions that result from raw sewage releases to estuaries. All right. Awesome. More creative accounting or 3-card Monty. Always helpful when trying to figure out what's going on, to leave out information about what's going on. You know what I'm saying? These findings could play an important role in setting future climate mitigation strategies and emissions limits, informing policymakers of additional sources of greenhouse gas emissions that were previously unknown. But these limits will also have to account for increases in severe weather events. In East Africa, the frequency of extreme rainfall is expected to grow. Professor Paul Palmer from the University of Edinburgh, who co-authored the study, told the Institute of Physics, according to phys.org, our findings show that such a future scenario will have far-reaching consequences for global concentrations of atmospheric methane. Uh-oh. That's not so good. Scott Andrews, methane in sewage systems. Say it ain't so. Tom Mallard, methane is 100 times worse than CO2 for 8 to 12 years, fades to CO2, so never goes away. Right, and then there's that. And then there's that. Let's go over to the Rockfin. Kevin Shanholzer is hanging out. Jay Thadcast is hanging out on the Rockfin. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We've got 12 watching. Shanholzer says methane traps heat 83% more effectively over the first 20 years. IPCC still says oceans will rise only 16 inches by 2100. Max. We'll see. We'll see about how many more glacier bursts we get. Tim, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Tim says, thanks for your unrelenting coverage in spite of YouTube's crackdown. I appreciate that. Yeah. Somebody just told me that Just Have a Think was experiencing some issues. He was like, really weird that my view count is not what it should be. And, he was like saying that his view count was way down from what it should be over like the first 8-hour period after he releases a video. And I was like, welcome to the club. Just Have a Think. Something I've been experiencing for about a year and a half. My views being suppressed, my reach being suppressed, my subscribers being suppressed, my likes being, almost everything is suppressed. It's funny because I have a video that I put out like a week and a half ago about the Great Reset and climate change. And I had like 1,100 views on that video. And then one day I refreshed it and it said 999. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I just lost 100 views. And it went back up to 1,100 again. And they dropped it down to 918. I was like, okay. Can an honest YouTuber just get a break? That's what I'm asking. No, and the answer is no. Anyways, yeah, it's happening all over the place. More like just have a notification. Yeah, I mean, and people don't get notifications. There's all kinds of issues. But Wendy DeLee says Just Have a Think is possibly shadow banned. Yeah, and he was saying that some of his videos were not coming up, even if you search them by name. So, incredibly popular channel, Just Have a Think, but also experiencing a bit of the old YouTube suppression, as it were. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you today. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I will be doing a neo-realism show about 1 p.m., I believe. I will put it out on my Twitter, and I will surely, post the start time long before it starts, hopefully. So anyways, thank you guys so much. I will see you tomorrow at the regular times. Thanks for hanging out with me every day on these chats. Until next time, peace.